Joe Metheny's life was marked by hardship from the start. Born into a working-class family in Baltimore, Maryland, he experienced a childhood marred by poverty and neglect. The absence of a stable and nurturing environment cast a long shadow on his formative years. It was a harsh reality that left an indelible mark on his young psyche. As Joe grew older, he struggled to find his footing in the world. He drifted between odd jobs, unable to escape the cycle of poverty that had ensnared his family. The weight of his circumstances pressed down on him, fueling a growing sense of anger and resentment. Then came the pivotal moment that shattered what little stability Joe possessed. His girlfriend, Kathy Ann Magaziner, vanished without a trace, taking their 6-month-old son Joseph Jr. with her. This devastating loss unhinged Joe, pushing him over the precipice of despair and into a terrifying realm of violence. The disappearance of Kathy and Joseph Jr. became the catalyst for Joe's transformation into a monster. Consumed by rage and grief, he embarked on a murderous rampage that would terrorize Baltimore for years to come. His pain, however, offered no justification for the horrors he would inflict on others. Joe's first victims were 2 homeless men he encountered beneath a bridge. Driven by a warped sense of vengeance, he brutally murdered them, believing they were somehow involved in Kathy's disappearance. The killings were savage, fueled by a potent cocktail of grief, anger, and delusion. Despite the brutality of his crimes, Joe remained a phantom, evading capture and continuing his reign of terror. The police were baffled, unable to connect the dots and bring him to justice. Then, in a shocking turn of events, Joe was arrested and charged with the attempted murder of another homeless man. However, due to a lack of evidence and a flawed justice system, he was acquitted and set free. This failure of the legal system had dire consequences, emboldening Joe and paving the way for even more heinous acts. The acquittal was a grave miscarriage of justice. It allowed a dangerous predator to walk free, his thirst for blood unsated. The streets of Baltimore were no safer with Joe Metheny at large. Joe's depravity reached its horrifying apex with his most chilling crimes. He began luring unsuspecting victims, often sex workers, back to his makeshift dwelling, a squalid trailer behind his workplace. There he would commit unspeakable acts of violence, ending their lives and adding their names to his growing list of victims. What set Joe apart from other serial killers was the terrifying and depraved way he disposed of his victims. He confessed to butchering their bodies, grinding their flesh, and mixing it with pork. This gruesome concoction was then used to create hamburgers, which he sold to unsuspecting customers at his roadside stand. The thought of people unknowingly consuming human flesh sent waves of horror through the community. It was a betrayal of trust on the most primal level, a violation that shook the city to its core. The man who served them their meals was a monster in disguise. Joe's reign of terror finally came to an end in 1996. A potential victim, Rita Kemper, managed to escape his clutches and alert the authorities. Her harrowing tale and the subsequent discovery of incriminating evidence at his trailer led to Joe's arrest. Facing overwhelming evidence, Joe confessed to his crimes in a cold, matter-of-fact manner that sent chills down the spines of seasoned investigators. He showed no remorse, his words devoid of any humanity. His chilling confession provided a glimpse into the mind of a true monster. Joe Metheny was sentenced to death, but his sentence was later commuted to 2 life terms without the possibility of parole. He died in prison in 2017, his death bringing little solace to the families of his victims. The legacy of Joe the Cannibal continues to haunt Baltimore. His crimes left an indelible scar on the community, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. The fear he instilled lingered long after his imprisonment, a testament to the profound and lasting impact of his horrific deeds.